back to the channel. If you're enjoying these videos, I implore you to subscribe and like every now and again, send a little comment on there, have a little bit of interaction. It just really helps me gain a bit of traction. I want this channel to sort of gain some popularity and reach as many people as possible, so yeah, that'd be really helpful. So the episode we're doing today is one I've been wanting to do for a long time. We're basically going to compare my wheelchair with a standard kind of electric indoor-outdoor wheelchair that you get on the NHS. So I've got with me today my friend Naomi, who's going to model perfectly this wonderfully crap NHS issue wheelchair, and we're going to do a comparison between the two. We're in the Moatfield in the village here, which has got a mixture of grass and a bit of slopes and some different textures and surfaces, so we're going to give it a go and see how they fare.
So Naomi's in the Spectra XTR2 by Invacare, which, let's be honest, it's not an awful chair, but it's just not great either. So, and I'm hoping to show you why in the video in a minute. So I'm in the Magic 360 by Magic Mobility, which is my new chair, fairly new chair. We're just on our way now down through the village to the field, go test it out. Yeah, don't get me wrong, I mean, I'm grateful to live in a country that has an NHS and a welfare system that, you know, has a reasonably good level of support for disabled people, but I still think we've got a long way to go. So here we are coming into the field. Naomi's chair is just that little bit more bumpier and shakier with it's got a fairly rigid frame, it's got back suspension, but they're more like shock absorbers. It's got narrow tyres, I've got the all-terrains. And as we're coming round the corner here, it's a bit of a gradient where she's got to be quite careful not to just slide off into the moat. I'm coming on through there, loads of grip. Naomi and I have known each other for about 2 years now. We've both got the same condition, which is spinal muscular atrophy. You see we're both coming down the slope. I'm taking the steeper side and Naomi's on the shallower angle. She's got very little traction with those wheels. She's quite top heavy. The centre of gravity is quite high. I've got a much lower centre of gravity, which makes me feel a hell of a lot more stable and safe. She's got quite a narrow wheelbase as well, which can contribute to it being fairly unstable on a slope. So yeah, we were getting on alright, enjoying the views. Naomi's got to be quite careful about which path she takes. She's constantly looking at the ground, whereas I can just kind of look up and enjoy myself a little bit. It's got plenty of power as well, with 360 with its 600 watt motors. So we're coming around the corner up here, and there's a slope ahead, which I thought would probably come up as, you know, a bit of an obstacle. Naomi's chair was doing alright until now. I'll let you see the way it turned out. Yeah, it's quite funny really. Yeah.
What do you reckon? Will it go up there? It's a bit sketchy, isn't it?
Come down it?
Nah. I mean, we don't have to go up it. What do you reckon?
Yeah.
It's a bit steep, isn't it? I don't think you should.
No.
Nah, sketchy.
Yep.
So, Naomi's chair would go up it, but it would be really sketchy. It could tip back, it could lose traction, and if one wheel loses traction, what happens is the chair will just like suddenly go to one side, and then all of a sudden you're on like a steep slope and you're sideways on a slope, and so the chair could just tip over sideways. Naomi's not wearing a seatbelt, could be really sketchy. She's not got a headrest, it's a bit weird like that. I'm a bit of a stickler for safety, you know, and I mean they're useful. They're useful. You should have one. It'll save you one day. So. Yeah, we're gonna turn around and go back, but we just thought it'd be fun to show you how this chair manages it. I'll give you a little demonstration. So, no worries, mate. And then back down again. And like, I guess the difference is with this chair is centre of gravity, power and traction. The fact that I know that one of these wheels isn't going to slip. So yeah, we're going to turn around and go back. But that's the difference between a 20 grand chair and a, what's that, 4 grand?
Yeah,
4
about
grand NHS standard issue chair. And I mean, 4 grand, let's face it, it's overpriced. And for what you get, you're getting a dining chair with some wheels and a motor, essentially.
So let's look at these side by side. They're fairly similar, as you can see, but I've got chunkier tyres. It's wider wheelbase, as I've said, which makes it much more stable. Mine's also mid-wheel drive, so the drive wheels are in the centre, and then I've got those caster wheels out in the corners, which are all articulated on suspension. Naomi's is rear-wheel drive. I've always had rear-wheel drive wheelchairs, and I much prefer the mid-wheel drive chair now. It gives me a lot more manoeuvrability, and it feels a lot more stable, especially going downhill, because your braking wheels aren't at the back, so you don't feel like you're kind of like on the front of a forklift, if you know what I mean. So here we're looking at the Spectra XTR2, standard issue, indoor-outdoor wheelchair from the NHS. If you qualify as needing a wheelchair on the NHS wheelchair scheme, you'll be either given a wheelchair from them directly, an indoor wheelchair, outdoor wheelchair, manual, electric, whatever you need. But it's always quite basic, and the budget's always quite tight. If you want to then go ahead and buy a wheelchair privately, then what you can do is take the voucher for the value of the wheelchair that they would have given you, and then use that to go towards purchasing a new chair, which is what I've done with the Magic 360. Like I said, it was nearly 20 grand, but without the VAT. If you're registered disabled in the UK, you don't pay VAT on products like this, so that took it down to about 17,500. It's a brilliant wheelchair. I love it. It does everything I want and more. So I've got pretty standard seating, as has Naomi. Seating on wheelchairs is very custom. It's bespoke to the individual. So you buy a wheelchair usually, and then you kind of work out your seating. After that, the backrest, headrest, leg rest, armrest, your cushion, as a whole system. I'm going to do a whole video on seating because it's quite an interesting thing in itself. I've got the tilt and recline, and also the riser on this chair, which I'm going to demonstrate here. The rise is great for reaching things on the top, off the top of shelves, being at a bar or a social gathering, a music gig, being able to look over the shoulders of people. It's just so useful. I've been using it in the garden to pick fruit. This wheelchair has given me not only so much more independence, but it's given me confidence and the feeling of safety to go out and explore and to be as active as possible, which is really in alignment with who I am. And conversely, if I've got a wheelchair like Naomi's, which I have had for most of my life, it's incredibly limiting. There's two models of disability. There's the social model and the medical model. The medical model meaning, I'm disabled because I've got SMA. I can't get into that building because I have spinal muscular atrophy, and it means I can't walk, and so I can't get into that building. The social model says, the reason I can't get into that building is because there's a step there. And so if we can design our products and our services and our environments to be more conducive to those with, varying mobility needs, we can kind of open the world up to be so much more inclusive. And I think a lot of that starts with wheelchairs, because they are essentially our legs. We get in them at the beginning of the day, we get out of them at the end of the day, and so they are. And just playing around with the seat tilt and recline here, which is really nice just to kind of unwind in the evenings, stretch yourself out, change your posture, helps with managing pressure sores. You can even have a little snooze down the bottom of the garden, which I frequently do. It's also got the seat riser, which is really handy for picking fruit off of trees, accessing the cash machine, getting things on top shelves. It's especially good at like bars or at live gigs. This wheelchair really has completely transformed my life, and that's what these things can do. So yeah, thanks for coming along. We decided to turn around at this point. I hope you've learnt something along the way about the differences between a standard wheelchair and an exceptional one. The differences are kind of nuanced from the outside perspective, but from a user's perspective, these are massive differences that can make a huge change to an individual's life.
Wait. So I'm just about to edit this video and I want to add on a few things. Making this video has given me some brilliant ideas for some more videos. One of them being a series on wheelchair comparisons in the style of Top Gear. I think it's kind of interesting that one of the most popular TV shows of all time, not only in the UK but globally, was a programme comparing cars. I know there's a massive difference in the size of the market, wheelchairs, and cars. But I thought it'd be fun to do a similar series, because there's nothing like that on YouTube, where we take on mobility scooters and wheelchairs and we put them head to head against each other and put them through all sorts of ridiculous, funny, silly tasks and challenges. So if you're a wheelchair manufacturer and you've got a new bit of kit that you'd like tested and you want to send it our way, let us know. We're one up for it. I just want to say I'm going to do a video soon about the equipment that I carry on my wheelchairs. I've got a lot of stuff on the chair that I carry around, and I thought it might be quite interesting just to do a video on that. What I carry, why I carry it, and what it does. The third point I wanted to add is funding. Funding is a big issue in the world of disability equipment. As I've mentioned, this Magic 360 that I'm in was nigh on 20 grand. It's a lot of money. It was too much money for me to cough up. I'm currently, not earning a hell of a lot, and I had to fundraise, and so that's true for most disabled people. When they need the equipment that they need, if they can't afford it themselves, which is usually the case, they need to fundraise, and that's quite a big process. It's quite involved, and I actually really enjoyed the fundraising. I was dreading it, and I actually put it off for 12 months or more. But then when I got into it, it all sort of happened really quickly. I was quite successful, getting donations from charities and raising some money on the crowdfunding platform. So I'm going to do a video on fundraising, so look out for that. It's going to come up soon. If you want to see the Magic 360 do some proper off-roading, check out my other videos. You'll see those in my YouTube, also on Facebook. I'm on TikTok and Instagram, so check us out, all under the same name, Sam Enabled. And finally, there are some links below to Magic Mobility and a video detailing the different tyre choices that you can get with the Magic 360. It's well worth a look. They're a great company. I really believe in them. Like I say in the video there, the motto is, because the world's not flat, they produce some amazing stuff. It's really well, intelligently thought out and beautifully engineered. So yeah, get involved and have a look. I'll see you again soon.